98 FM's Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
And good morning from Adrian Kennedy. How are you this morning? It is, what day is it? It's Tuesday. And we're here till midday today. And it is Tuesday, the 10th of Nov, 2020. And it's a day that for the first time since the start of March, I think all of us have a little bit of optimism at long last, after all of after a cluster you-know-what of a year, we finally got a bit of good news that shows somewhere down that tunnel there's a little bit of light. I can see it right down the end of the tunnel. And after months and months of hopelessness and wondering when this COVID pandemic would ever go away and we could start to get on with our lives again, news arrived yesterday that there may be some light at the end of the tunnel. After months of large-scale trials, Pfizer and Germany firm BioNTech released a statement saying their initial data shows their coronavirus vaccine candidate is 90% effective with no evidence of side effects. Now, it came as great news for many of us. And people took to social media to sort of celebrate. Now, it might be a bit early to be celebrating, but at least we're now seeing something positive. So let's be positive and talk about things. We were looking on social media, people talking about things that they can't wait to do again. And that's what we want to hear from you. What was the first thing you thought of when you heard that a vaccine may be finally on the way? They were talking about 2 million doses of the vaccine being made available to Ireland, which is great. And, OK, it's not going to happen next week or the week after, but you just get the feeling that come springtime, we may be on the way out of this whole thing. In fact, Ian gets the feeling.
Oh yeah, Adrian, the very first thing I'll be doing if this vaccine gets to go ahead and everything's going back to normal, I'll be booking a 2-week holiday to Spain. I can't wait. Yeah.
I have to be honest with you, Ian. I have this little purple book. And the purple book, I forgot what it did actually. It's a purple book, and when you open it up, it has a photograph of me inside. And this little purple book, from what I can remember, you use in an airport to get you on a plane to go to another country. So that purple book has all sorts of cobwebs on it. And I thought to myself, the first thing I thought, I might be able to get my purple book back out of my top drawer and use it again. I'm talking about my passport, of course. I'd love to hear from you. Send me a WhatsApp voice note right now to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. What was the first thing you thought of when you heard that a vaccine is finally on the way, that it's just around the corner, that the trials are going very well, and we, fingers crossed, in the next couple of months will finally have a vaccine, and we can initially vaccinate the vulnerable and the elderly so that we can stop people dying of this virus, which is still happening, by the way. So what was the first thing you thought of? So for me, it was, I may be able to take my passport out of the top drawer in 2021. And actually use it again, which would be very exciting. So what was the first thing that you thought of? Call me now on 6797 981 or send me a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. Was it like Ian? The first thing he thought of was, well, maybe I can book a holiday next year and actually go on it. Jeremy's son, for example, was nice and simple. He can't wait to go bowling. 10-pin bowling. He just wants to go 10-pin bowling. So what was it with you? What was the first thing that you thought of that you may be able to do in 2021 if and when we start getting over this thing, if and when the vaccine gets rolled out and we stop people dying from this virus? And okay, it's going to take a while before we can all get it, but you get the feeling that if they can roll it out to the vulnerable and the elderly, then things can start getting back to some sort of normality. Send me a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. Now, Bobby, this is about the holidays.
Yeah.
You think holidays are going to go through the roof?
Oh, absolutely. All these big companies, the Ryanair and the rest of them crying, we've no money. The same with the hotels and everybody else. Your holiday that cost you $1,500, $2,000 last year, it's going to cost you $10,000. And they'll milk us. They'll absolutely roast us.
Oh, so you think we're going to be ripped off?
Absolutely. It's getting to you'd be lucky if you get Mosney for $10,000.
Oh, right. So the theory that you might be able to dust off your passport and head on a holiday is only a theory because you mightn't be able to afford it.
Well, keep saving. Just don't go to the pub for a while. Keep saving.
No, we can't do that at the moment.
I
anyway.
know, that's what I'm saying.
So what was the first thing you thought of, Bobby, when you heard that we may be somewhere closer to getting a vaccine?
I would love to go on a holiday. Of course, every person in the country would. But look, I mean, as long as everybody's safe and it's safe to do so, then by all means, I'll go on holidays. But like I said, it won't be cheap.
No, okay, yeah, no, I never actually looked at it that way.
Can you imagine now this holiday place after losing a fortune, they're going to say, oh, well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make up our loss here now.
Yeah, I suppose so. But if they price themselves too high, people aren't going to go.
Hold on, who are you going to go to, or how are you going to go without booking through them?
Yeah, no, I understand that, but people will just say, here, I'm not paying 700 quid for a flight to Spain.
No, they won't. You won't have a choice. It's like them poor feckers in America that had a vote between Trump and that other clown. They don't have a choice.
Right, okay. So you're thinking holiday, but you're thinking we might be ripped off.
Absolutely. It'll be about 10 years before you can afford it. The way the prices goes down, about whatever, 2030 or whatever.
Good to talk to you, Bobby. Thanks very much indeed. Let's have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note sent to 0877 98 98 98 from Vicky.
Morning. One of the first things I would love to do when things go back to normal is catch up with all my family and friends and have a big night dancing in a club or a pub or something to celebrate my belated 40th, which was this year during lockdown. Thanks.
Thank you, Vicky. This is from Hannah.
Regarding the vaccine, my initial thought was I can actually hug my grandparents for the first time since March.
Oh, that'd be great, wouldn't it, Hannah? Absolutely would. And in fact, Leonard, that was your thing. You can't wait to hug.
Exactly, I can't wait to hug, kiss and squeeze the life out of people because I'm very sort of a touchy person.
Yeah.
And it's human nature, you know?
Yeah.
I think we all miss that.
In fact, I was sent a video yesterday. It was filmed about this time last year. And it was me on stage emceeing a show with 1,000 people at it. And as the winners were being announced, they come up on stage and I was hugging them all and patting them on the back and shaking hands with them all. And all randomers that I don't know from Adam. And it was just, I'd love to do that again.
See, we're human, we're soft, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. I can't wait to be able to do that again. Great one. Thanks very much, Leonard. Keep them coming in. 0877 98 98 98. What was the one thing you thought when we heard the news yesterday of a little bit, not yet, not rushing away with ourselves here, but a little bit of light down that tunnel? And you can just see a little dot of light and you think, by this time next year, we might be over this. And that's the truth of it. This is from Luke.
Adrian, the first thing I thought when I heard about this vaccine is going to watch Ireland's most successful football team, Shamrock Rovers. I just missed them Friday nights. It's not the same watching it on the telly. I don't know how all the bar stillers do it. I missed that live action. Come on, the Hoops.
Come on, the Hoops. All right, good man. Jenny sent me this.
The first thing that I thought was, if I have a baby, I'll be able to have my husband there with me.
You see. I mean, just the little things that we may be able to eventually do. Keep them coming in. Send me a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. We heard a little bit of good news yesterday. It's not immediate, but it does feel like a bit of good news. And I'd like to find out from you, what was the first thing you thought of? The first thing I thought of was I can dust off my passport maybe in 2021 and actually use it. Terry, you've already got a holiday booked.
Yeah, I'm booked to go on the 6th of March 2021 and I only paid €300 for it.
Oh, right. Where to?
Lanzarote, and I was only there in October as well.
Oh, October just gone?
Yeah, I was there for a week and then I had to quarantine for 2 weeks.
And how did that go for you?
Amazing. It was a great time.
And the quarantining when you came back, was it not a bit of a drag?
No, it wasn't at all. It was actually, it was quite relaxing. It was like an extra 2 weeks on top of your holiday.
Oh, right, okay. And what was it like over there? The reason I ask is a friend of mine is in the same... I assume you're not working, so it was easy enough for you to quarantine, were you?
Yeah.
And a friend of mine in the same boat is actually away in Gran Canaria at the minute. But he sent me photographs yesterday of an empty place. The place is deserted. So
yeah, Lanzarote was the same, but it was relaxing. It wasn't like people, before we went, people were like, oh, it's scaremongering. That's all it was. As in, there's nobody there. There was people there, and it was just so safe, and I felt safer there than I did here.
Yeah, and in fact, my mate has said the same thing, that he feels very safe because there's nobody around, but all the shops and stuff are closed, all the bars are closed. It looks like a boring holiday.
No, all the majority of the bars and restaurants were open when we were there. Closed at 1 a.m. But sure, that didn't bother us because we were home and all by 11.
Yeah, right.
Sit on your balcony then, and do you know what I mean?
All right, so you're already looking forward to your next holiday in March.
Yep.
All right, fair play. Thanks very much indeed. And Sarah is also dying for a holiday.
There's so many things. I can't wait to go on a holiday. Definitely straight away going to be booking a holiday, bringing the kids to the cinema, bringing them to play places, having birthday parties for them again. There's just so many things that the kids have missed out on that I just can't wait to do with them again. It's going to be amazing.
All right, Sarah, thanks very much indeed. And like I said, it's the first time in a long time that we've had some sort of optimism that we might be able to put this thing behind us. And I just got to thinking earlier on that, okay, it's going to take months to roll this vaccine out and all that, if we're being realistic about it. But you look to this time next year and you think, well, I certainly do, by this time next year, we could be back to near normality. By this time next year. I know it's a year away, but it's the first time we've actually been able to think that. This is Linda.
Hi, Adrian. The thing I'm looking forward to most is going down and being able to go into my parents and have a cup of tea with them without worrying. Thanks.
Nice and simple. Nice and simple. Aoife, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Aoife.
Hi, how are you?
Aoife, tell me about your kids.
Well, one's 12 and one's 4. And we had a holiday booked to go, obviously, this year, but we couldn't go. And the 4-year-old said that's all he wanted to do was spend his days in the swimming pool.
It's so simple. It's such a simple little thing.
And he hasn't seen his cousins in months either because of my partner working with COVID-19 on a daily basis. We just don't go to anyone else's houses or let anyone around us.
Because you don't want to be taking that chance.
No, I couldn't live with myself if I gave my mother or father or my sister.
Absolutely, yeah, of course not. So that has made it very difficult and made you have to stay away.
Yeah.
Even with restrictions a bit eased, because he's in that sort of work, you don't want to take any chances at all.
No, even sending them back to school, I was very iffy as well. And because, my nephew at the minute is very sick as well. So I couldn't even be around him at the moment. Okay,
so the first thing that your kids thought of is maybe next year we can swim in a swimming pool on our holidays. It just would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So did you feel... Because I know I did, certainly when I heard this announcement yesterday, and I'm aware, and I know Tony Houlihan said, don't be running away with yourselves here, relax, this isn't happening tomorrow, and I know it's not happening tomorrow, but for the first time I thought to myself, by this time next year, and I know it's a year away, but by this time next year you just get to thinking that we could be a little bit more normal again by this time next year, which is a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, Aoife, thanks very much indeed. Anne, you're on 98 FM.
Morning, Adrian.
A lot of women will be able to relate to what you have to say. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah.
I can't wait to put my makeup on and not have it washed off by a mask.
It's funny.
And get out of the leggings and the big tops and put proper clothes on and go out somewhere nice.
It's funny you should say that, because only yesterday, I was out in the car yesterday, and there was a disposable mask just on the passenger seat, and I picked it up, and it was covered in makeup. So it was my wife's mask, and it was plastered in makeup.
Yeah.
So okay, you look forward to be able to put on your makeup and not have it smudged off by wearing a mask.
Exactly.
Wouldn't that just be amazing?
Fabulous.
So did you feel a little bit of optimism for the first time yesterday?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Definitely.
It just felt like
light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, you just feel that way. I certainly do.
Yeah.
All right, great to talk to you, Anne. Thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, bye.
Let me have a listen to this from Robbie.
Morning, lads. One of the first things I'm definitely looking forward to is getting back to the cinema. Love going to cinema, so the largest bucket of buttery popcorn, Coke, jellies, sweets, hot dogs, everything. Can't wait to get back. Great news about the vaccine. All the best.
Thanks, Rob. Louise.
Adrian, the first thing I want to do is just hug everybody. I want to hug my friends. I want to hug my family, my mum and dad. I hate when you're meeting people in the street and you haven't seen them in ages and you can't just go up and give them a hug. You have to stand away from them. I just want to be able to hug people. Cannot wait.
Yeah. I mean, these elbow bumps, they're all well and good, but it's not the same thing. Sure, it's not. Elbow bumping somebody. Derek.
Hi, Adrian and Jeremy. Derek from Kilkenny here. I can't wait to attend an All-Ireland final, look at the packed pubs, drink plenty of beer on All-Ireland final day, and hopefully celebrate another All-Ireland. Thanks.
And I know it's going on as we speak. The championship has begun and Kerry were knocked out, which is even more optimistic news. But I know it's great to watch the sport. It really is. And it's brilliant that it's been allowed to go ahead and it's been done very safely and all of that. But it just isn't the same thing watching it on the television with no crowds. It just isn't. It's enjoyable. The Cork-Kerry match the other day, I thoroughly enjoyed watching it on the telly, and I probably wouldn't have been at that match anyway, but it's not the same thing. This is from Richie.
I thought of a busy pub with good music, great atmosphere, and a few pints with families and friends.
You see, isn't that brilliant? It's just the simple little things. Tell me about your mammy, Jenny. She's 90 today.
She is. She's 90 years young today, Joan, out in Balbriggan, and there's going to be a few family members that live local to her that can pop and say hello from the garden, but it's just to be able to hug her and wish her a big happy birthday would be amazing.
Wouldn't it just? Well, So Joan is her name. Joan what?
Joan Fitzgerald.
Joan Fitzgerald in Balbriggan.
Yeah.
90 years young today. That's amazing.
She is indeed.
And how is she keeping?
She's well. She's had a few, thankfully nothing coronavirus. She has a few health issues, but she's in good form. She's been keeping well, so.
And she's been and the virus has been kept away from her, which is the main
we've
thing.
all been keeping it away. My sister, she lives next door to her, so she's been a trooper. Siobhan and Pat, her husband, have looked after her through all this, and we've all visited one at a time and did our usual bit, but she's looking forward to what she can have today, so
that's
hopefully
fantastic.
we can make something,
Well, Joan, happy birthday. Joan Fitzgerald in Balbriggan, 90 years young today. Happy birthday, Joan. And Jenny, thanks very much indeed. Let's squeeze in another couple. This is Trish, who's really optimistic. Is already has Paddy's Week booked.
Hi, Adrian. I've got a brilliant holiday for the two of us for Patrick's Week. To Benidorm for €800, flights, accommodation, transfers, breakfast, and even a meal. Roll on, Patrick's Week.
Oh, that sounds nice for £800, doesn't it? Dan, a lot of people will be able to relate to this one.
I can't wait to see the back of the anti-maskers. Woohoo!
It's nice and simple, isn't it? Jenny.
Hi, Adrian. The first thing I want to do when the vaccine is available is hug my mum. She's 90 years old today, and it's going to be a very quiet birthday with just the odd member of the family attending. So we really can't wait to be able to hug her again. Thanks a million. Love the show, Jenny in Clondalkin.
And that was Jenny that we had on a couple of minutes ago about her mum. This is Megan.
Hi, it's Megan here. Can't wait to watch Dublin GA and go to GA matches.
Yeah, I can't myself, Megan. I'm really looking forward to it. It's not going to happen this year. We all know that. It's going to be behind closed doors for the rest of this year. C'est la vie, as they say. But by next year, you'd like to think we'll be back at GA matches again. Megan!
Wait to watch Dublin.
Oh, sorry, we just played that, didn't we? Orla!
Adrian, I can't wait to go to Boomers with all my sister and all my mates and have a listen to Larry Hearts and have a good old bop like we used to. It seems like a lifetime ago. Great crack.
And that's Boomers in Clondalkin. Brilliant. Love it, Orla. Thanks very much indeed. And hi, I live in Australia. This is the thing, we mentioned this yesterday. This is something to think in the back of your mind, okay? I live in Australia and we are pretty much COVID free now. My wife's family is in Dublin and I can't wait to get back there and see everyone, maybe go back to, down to Galway and eat all your Eddie Rockets, says Chris. Chris, that's a great message and thanks very much indeed. And thank you all of you. As I said, just that little bit of light down the end of that tunnel is cause for optimism. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. This is Adrian Kennedy. Quick break, back in a sec.
The sound of the city, from Coolock to Cabinteely. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
And we're here until midday today. Now, next on the programme, completely unrelated to the world we live in at the minute, in terms of COVID-19, this is a situation that many of you listening have had to deal with at one stage or another. And we want to find out how you did deal with it. What happens in a situation where a couple who have a child together split up, and we know it happens very regularly, should the child get a say in who he or she lives with? Should a child have a say at all? As a mother, what would you do if your child turned around and said, I want to go live with daddy? And at what age should a child be allowed to choose? Now, the reason we're asking all of these questions is because a father who we're calling Anthony, that's not his real name, contacted us yesterday looking for advice. He's separated from his son's mother. Their son is 10 years old. He lives with the mother at the minute, but recently he's been asking his father, can I come and live with you, Daddy? What is the best way to deal with a situation like this? Anthony said in his message to us, I feel children should have the right to choose where they live, obviously at a certain age, where they are old enough to understand what's going on around them. My son is 10, a mature 10, and is able to make decisions. Is it fair to even put things like this on a child? Who would you like to live with? Or is it up to parents to decide where the child should live? Call me right now on 6797 981 and let me play Anthony's voice message to us, which we have disguised because we want to protect his identity, bearing in mind the sensitivity of this one. So have a listen. We've disguised his voice on this voice note sent to us yesterday.
I was wondering there if you could bring this topic up on your show during the week at some stage. It's just something I feel very, very passionate about regards my situation. To the point though, I currently have a child from a previous relationship, and my son there, he's coming to the age now where he's asking when can he move in with his daddy. You know, if it was up to me, I'd say, yeah, you can move in now today, you can move in next week, but you know, I have to do everything legally. I just don't know what to do really, because I have to be seen to encourage him to be okay at home and kind of reassure him that everything's alright. I've been on to numbers of people regarding this, and I've been told a child has to be with their mother until the age of 15.
A child has to be with their mother until the age of 15. I don't know if that's actually a law, but anyway, already there's a massive reaction to this. We had this up on Facebook earlier on, and huge reaction to this. This is from Hannah.
Hi, so after reading the post on Facebook, I said I'd send across a voice note. To me, both parents should be communicating what's in the best interest of the child. Essentially, the child could be going, oh, well, the grass is greener living with daddy than it is mummy, or the child could be trying to play one parent off the other, going, oh, she doesn't let me do this, he'll let me do this, and so on. But if the child is genuinely unhappy, it's up to the parents to be responsible enough to communicate with each other to work out what's the best, even whether it's done on a trial period or so on. At the end of the day, as a parent, all you want is your child's happiness, so they need to start communicating in that. Like, courts can decide whatever, but at the end of the day, the parents are going to know what's best, and an awful lot of anger is done when parents are separating and going through a divorce. So it has to be, you have to be there for the kid at the end of the day.
All right, I'd love to hear from you on this on 6797 981. You can send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98. And as I said, Anthony said, I feel children should have the right to choose where they live, obviously at a certain age, where they are old enough to understand what's going on around them. My son is 10, a mature 10, and is able to make decisions. And we're asking whether or not children should be able to decide for themselves which parent they want to live with. Traditionally, if a couple separate, the kids traditionally stay with mammy and then stay over with daddy. But should it be traditionally? Should children be able to say, look, I'd actually like to live with my dad? Aidan, you're on 98 FM. How are you?
Hello.
Aideen. How are you, Aideen?
Hi, sorry. Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Now, what did you want to say?
I just said that at the end of the day, you have to love your kids more than you hate your ex. So even though you think that living, like in Ireland, it's a very funny situation. Men don't really have as many rights as women. It's very sad.
Don't have as many what as women?
As many rights.
Oh, sorry, yes.
When it comes to kids, as you were saying there, traditionally they end up with their mum, but that's because of the courts, you know. And I always feel sorry for men who get the raw end of the stick. But at the end of the day, you have to love your kids more than you hate your ex, and listen to what they're telling you. So if they're saying they...
Oh, Aideen, we've lost you there. Sorry, Aideen, your line completely dropped there. Say that again, please.
Oh, sorry. You have to listen to your kids. They're not stupid. Like, they know what's going on, even though you think they don't. And if they want to live with their dad, you have to listen to why they want to live with their dad.
Now, this man who we're calling Anthony, he says his son is 10, a mature 10, is able to make decisions. But should you allow a 10-year-old to make that major life decision? And it is a major life decision.
You need to sit down and talk with the child and ask them why. If he's mature, he'll be able to tell you what he's feeling and why he wants to live with his dad. And unfortunately, it's not, living with mum isn't always the best. And that, like, I'd be heartbroken if my child turned around and said she wants to live with her dad and not me. But you have to look and see why, and why that might be the best for the child. At the end of the day, it's about the child. It's not about mum or dad's feelings. It's about the child.
Yeah, I kind of agree, okay? But if we allow children to make that decision themselves, okay?
They're not making the decision themselves. Then you have to... At the end of the day, mum and dad are. But you have to take on board what their thoughts are, why they want to live with dad and not mum, or why they want to live with mum and not dad. And unfortunately, like I said, the dads get the blunt deal here. Like, traditionally, they end up with mum, whether they want to or not.
No, I agree. And that is what traditionally happens. It is generally what courts will order, unless there's extenuating circumstances of a really bad mother. Unless she's a really bad mother and an alcoholic or whatever, the kids will generally end up with the mother. But this guy Anthony's point was the kids should be able to say, well, look, it's nothing to do with you, man, but I'd love to live with my dad.
At the end of the day, the decision is between the mum and the dad, but I think you do need to listen to the child. It's a horrible situation to be in for anybody, but there must be a reason behind it, and you need to get to the bottom of that reason.
All right, stay there for 1 second if you can, please, Adrian. 6797981 is our telephone number, or do what Ray just did and send a WhatsApp voice note to 0877 98 98 98.
Adrian, they're talking about having a mature conversation with a 10-year-old child here. You can't even have a mature conversation with a 20-odd-year-old person these days. Now, remind a 10-year-old child. You need to stop this, and kids don't make decisions like this. The parents make the decisions what's best for the kids.
Yeah, okay. But what that caller was saying is that you have to at least listen to what they're saying. Their opinion matters for something, does it not? No? Peter, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Peter?
Morning, Adrian. How are you getting on?
Good, thanks, Peter. What did you want to say on this?
Yeah, look, you can take points from a lot of people there. I, for one, think that it's the parents that have to make the decision, Adrian. Okay, and I totally agree.
Well, no, I mean, legally speaking, it's obviously an adult has to make this decision, but should children have a say in this decision?
Do you know what? I don't know about having a say, but I most 100% agree about sitting them down and listening to what they have to say, because what they feel now will reflect in the future. And that goes with anything, kids, whether they're in a bad environment at home or they're having issues in school. No matter what, what they do now will have an effect on them in the future. So it's imperative for them to sit down and have a chat with the child to find out exactly what they're feeling and why they're feeling that way about, wanting to live with one parent rather than another.
Because, it could be as simple. It could be as simple as this young fella, this 10-year-old, just has a great relationship with his dad and would just like to live with his dad, and nothing more complicated than that.
Or it could be just boredom as well, that the child just says, I'd like a change. So you have to figure it out. You can't just, go with, maybe he has a better relationship with the father or a better relationship.
No, I'm not saying a better relationship, but a good relationship with his father, and maybe a better relationship, I don't know. But the young fella has said that he would like to live with his dad. Is that worth anything if the young fella has said that?
Oh, of course it's worth it. Everything a child says is worth it, Adrian. How old is he? 10?
10, yeah.
Yeah, well, at that age, absolutely, because he's starting to come into his pre-teens. So, you have to listen. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, you've got to listen to the 10-year-old and listen to what they have to say. But the right decision will have to be made by the parents. So I think both parents will need to sit down with the child together rather than separately, so they're not playing two different stories as well. So it's all about compromise, Adrian.
All right, Peter, thanks very much indeed. 6797 981 is our telephone number. I'm going to take a quick break, but during the break, I want to run a very quick poll to ask you your opinion on this. And the question that I want to ask you is, should a 10-year-old be given any say in which parent they live with? Okay, so this 10-year-old young fella has said, can I come and live with you, Dad? Should a 10-year-old be given a say in which parent they can live with? Send yes or no to 0877 98 98 98 in answer to that question. Should a 10-year-old be given any say in which parent they live with? Send us a yes or a no to 0877 98 98 98.
The sound of the city, from Lucan to Lusk. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Interesting message I just gotten in, and it says, this is a difficult situation. My daughter stays with her dad every second Saturday. As a result, there are no rules at his house. She gets away with murder and is spoiled rotten, which I totally understand when she's not there that often. So when I say, brush your teeth, bedtime, clean your room and so on, I'm the devil and daddy is amazing. Sometimes she said, I want to stay with my daddy, and when this happens, I sit down with her and figure out whether it's because of a bigger issue or simply because I've enforced rules. We don't dismiss it, we talk about it. If you dismiss it, you're just showing your kids that their feelings and opinions don't count for anything. And who wants to raise a child to feel like that? This is a WhatsApp voice note from Mags.
Just regarding the dad saying that the child wants to come and live with him, I would say if the child is being well looked after at home, the child could be just excited and daddy could be more fun, so maybe just wants to go and live with him. Sometimes the grass grows greener on the other side. I'd send the child for a few days and see how he feels, and he might come back and think different. If the child is not being looked after, then yes, definitely daddy should definitely 100% go on for custody of the child. Thank you.
All right, Mags. And Keith.
I have to say, Adrian, great show, mate. Totally disagree. Stupid parents, again, using their kids as pawns in their stupid games, you know. You can't play with kids' emotions. They'll suffer for this for the rest of their lives. These parents need to get a bit of cop on, you know. It's just ridiculous. Like, you cannot use kids and play with their emotions.
No, but nobody's talking about using kids, Keith. This is a conversation about kids having an opinion and having any right to a say on where they live. This is nothing to do with parents, actually. Gemma, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Gemma.
Hi, Adrian.
Now, Gemma, what's your view on this?
I think 10 is just too young to be making such a monumental decision. Like that voice note said there, I think they're too easily influenced. And I'm not saying that a parent would be doing that on purpose. Sometimes they may be, but a lot of times they wouldn't be. But it's the whole grass is greener. So, you know, they're living at home. They've got all the rules, whether it be with the mother or the father. And then they go off to the other parent for one night, and like that, it's party central. You know, they've great fun, and, you know, it's only natural that they'll say, well, I want to go there, I want to live there. But I think 10 is too young to be making the decision, not an informed decision.
Okay, so this young fella in this case, and his dad describes him as a mature 10, able to make decisions. He has said to his dad, Dad, I'd love to live with you. Should that just be ignored?
No, I think the two parents, if it's amicable, the two parents should be able to discuss it. But I just think if it's not amicable, I don't think 10 years of age is old enough to be making a decision like that.
Is there any age under the age of 18?
Yeah, I think when they're around maybe 13, 14, I think that's the time that they're, you know, a lot more mature. Most parents will admit that until your child is, you know, kind of nearly finished first year, you know, the maturity can be seen a lot more then. You know, you might think your child is great at 10 and can make decisions, but really, like, how many of us even at 18 make bad decisions?
Yeah, we all do.
Know, so
we all do.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't think 10 is old enough. And as I say, you know, a decision made by a 10-year-old could be just based on the fun that they're having at the weekend with the other parent.
And if you're living full-time with somebody, it's not going to be all fun, is it?
Well, you'd hope not.
Yeah, well,
you know,
you'd
hope that there would be rules and there would be discipline and there would be, you know, the whole do your homework, clean your room, you know what I mean?
Okay, so you'd like to think that this young fella at 10 isn't just saying, I'd like to live with my dad because he has great crack in his dad's.
Yeah, and maybe there's no rules. You know what I mean? I can't comment on how the chap parents. He could be, you know, he could be brilliant. But, you know, generally most of us, if we have, you know, a child for a day, whether it be your own child or a niece and nephew, we spoil them. You know, we don't discipline them because you literally have them for a few hours.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So you and it's as that message I read out a couple of minutes ago. You're seen as the easy parent because you only have them for a few hours.
Yeah. But then also, I think you have to, you know, kind of acknowledge as well that there are unfortunately some parents out there, and I'm not saying in this case it's the situation, but there are some parents who can be very manipulative and who will purposely do it to try and sway the child to want to be with them. So it might not be in the child's interest, even though the child might, you know, have a say and say, oh, I want to, and just might not be in the child's interest to be with that other parent 24 hours.
All right, good to talk to you, Gemma. Thanks very much indeed. Let's have a listen to this from Jason.
Adrian, I think, yeah, of course, you should listen to the child's opinion of why he wants to go and live with that other parent. But you also need to listen to why he doesn't want to live with where he's living at the moment. It goes both ways.
Yeah, okay, that's a fair point. Susan, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Susan?
Hi, Adrian.
You don't believe a child should be put in that position that they are able to make that decision?
No, absolutely not. I think kids can pick up on things from parents, you know, like maybe if the dad is upset or, you know, a little bit sad or lonely when the kid's going back to the mams or something, kids will pick up on that. And they're very loyal. So out of, like, a displaced loyalty, they say, no, I want to go and live with my dad. But they could be at home saying complete opposite things to mum. They could be saying, no, I don't want to live there. And that parent doesn't know that. Kids are very loyal to each parent. They love their parents, no matter how good or bad they are. So it could be.
But this father, I don't know what, because he didn't say it in his message. This guy that we're calling Anthony, I don't know what his relationship is like with the child's mother. I don't know if they're on good terms or not. Let's assume that they're not on good terms, okay? And he goes to her and he says, the young fella wants to come and live with me, and she just says, absolutely not. And then that's the conversation over then, isn't it?
It is the conversation over. And unfortunately, I have a situation like that myself where my ex can be very manipulative with the kids, and there is nowhere to go. There's nowhere even to go if a parent, say, even for the likes of a mother, if a father doesn't turn up and take his kids, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to report that. There's no kind of support to say, that a parent has to behave themselves or that a parent has to take their children. There probably is a big hole in that system because A, the kids won't have a voice, and then B, you know what I mean, there's a lack of support there for some parents in that situation on both sides.
Okay, but where it comes to the child having any sort of a say as to where he's going to live, you don't believe that at 10 years of age they can make that decision?
No, I think they don't understand the impact that decision will have on their life. I don't think they really can comprehend how much their life could change by living in a different household. And like other people were saying, it can be the fun house if it's the house that you're only there every now and again, maybe every other weekend or a day during the week. It's much easier to live in that environment than in the home where you have all the rules and the coming and going, the busy households that we have. That other home can seem like just a getaway for a few days, and when you're actually living there, that's not going to be the case.
All right, Susan, let's have listen to this message that's come into us, and it says, I had to make the hard decision to let my son move to his dad's when he was 13. I was spending so much time in hospital, and he ended up miserable as he constantly had to sleep in his dad's or grandparents due to it. Best decision we as parents ever made because he got more stability, he felt more secure, and was better able to cope with the circumstances. Thankfully, his dad was always fantastic. Elaine sent me this message.
Adrian, if I was to let my kids pick between living with myself or my husband, they'd pick Daddy every day of the week because he's the fun one and I'm the strict one.
And that is the reality in a lot of situations like this. And in fact, that's what you were facing, Joe. That you were the fun parent, were you?
Absolutely. You see, my situation was I was getting my child once a week. So I didn't want to be arguing with the child. I didn't want to be setting down rules. I wanted the child to be happy. Mm-hmm. So she was getting away with the murder with me. So what you have to kind of do is, the child is going to want to be with you all the time if you're fun all the time. Like when I was dropping her home, we were making plans for what exciting thing we're going to do the following week. Child is going to look forward to that all the time. My situation, you have to look at my ex-partner. She was doing a great job. Mm-hmm. Child was in school, homework done. Child was great, not a problems. So you don't upset that situation. Kids will play parents off each other like a game of tennis. Kids are very smart and they will do that.
So the reality of it is, for that guy Anthony who contacted us, it could be a situation, I don't know the exact circumstances, but it could be a situation that he is the fun parent. And as you said...
It is.
Yeah.
I nearly put money on it.
Yeah.
So he has to look at his ex-partner and say, okay, I've had a baby with you. I trust that you're going to look after your child and do everything right with your child. Don't take the child out of that situation if the mother is 100% there supporting your child. And any father that's separated knows this, only has to look at the mother and say, yeah, if the mother's not doing the job right, or there's other issues there,
that's a different matter.
Problems there, new partners there, there's all these things. But if the mother's doing a great job and your child is in school, looked after, dressed, clean, fed, you don't upset that situation just to get a dig in at somebody.
Okay, so you accept that you were the fun parent?
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Right.
And I made a point of not upsetting my child when she came out to me because I'd felt guilty because I only had her for one day a week. So yes, 100%.
Okay, do me a favour, Joe, and do me a favour and stay on the line there for 1 second if you can, please. 6797 981 is our telephone number. We'll take a quick break. We'll take a couple more calls on this after that break.
98
It's 11 o'clock across Dublin. Good morning. This is Adrian Kennedy. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. And this is Laura with Tuesday's top headlines.
Thanks, Adrian. Good morning. A 55-year-old man has been arrested in North Dublin for human trafficking. A European arrest warrant was issued in 2016 by Romanian authorities after the man was convicted of trafficking adults and children. He's due before the Extradition High Court this morning. Gardaí are investigating a suspected fatal hit and run in County Kildare. It happened last night at around 8 p.m. on Thomas Street in Newbridge, where a woman in her 40s sustained serious injuries. She was taken to Naas General Hospital, where she later died. It's understood she was hit by a vehicle, and Gardaí are appealing for witnesses. 279 people with COVID-19 are being treated in Irish hospitals this morning. It's down 11 on yesterday morning's figure and is the lowest since October 18th. And McDonald's is now available on Just Eat in Dublin, Cork, Limerick and Galway. Mac delivery will be rolled out from tomorrow with a total of 49 locations available by the 25th of November. Branches in O'Connell Street, Blanchardstown, Rathmines and Coolock will be the first to offer the service. And now you're up to date on 98.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. Call 6797 981.
We're talking about whether or not children kind of the age of 10 should be able to have a say in which parent they live with. Darren is in a similar situation.
Hi Adrian, just listening to your show there. Yes, I think a 10-year-old should have a say because he's, as that listener said earlier on, he's entering pre-teens, and if he's not happy where he is, I think he should be listened to. I'm separated with a 6-year-old who I have every single weekend, and he's already said it to me that he wants to live with me. I've played it down. Now I get on really well with his mother, thank God. And we've always agreed that the kids will always come first, and we know that conversation will come eventually, and we're kind of ready for it. At the minute I am saying, because he's in school, he doesn't live close to me, he's in school down around where he lives, and there would be a complete uproot, and at 6 I think he's just too young, but that's my opinion anyway. Thank you.
Alright, and this is another WhatsApp voice note from Chelsea.
Hey, if that was me and that was my child saying that much about that they wanted to go live with their father and saying it's their father and stuff like that, what I'd probably do is I'd be like, alright, we could trial it, maybe do like week on, week off, but when the child's with the other parent, the more fun one, they still have to have the same rules as when they're with the mother. It can't all just be all party all the time. They still have to have the same rules. That way it's fair and even, and then see how he feels about it after that. If he still wants to do it, then he still wants to do it. I think half and half is good though. I don't think it should be full time, and then obviously maybe he just misses his dad because he only sees him every second Saturday for a sleepover, so maybe just seeing him more and being with him more is just really what he wants. Yeah.
All right, Chelsea, thanks very much indeed. Our next caller, we're putting through our voice disguise because we just are, just to be safe. And this is a man we're calling Jack. Jack, good morning to you.
How are you? How's it going?
Good, thank you. You believe that all parenting arrangements should be 50-50?
Yeah, in other countries they do the same in all of the states and all that. You know, they have parenting arrangements where it's 50-50 access, so half the time with the male and half the time with the female, whatever the sex of the people are, you know. And it just stops so much stuff, because like people are right that when they're with one parent for, say if they're only with the mother one day a week, that the mother's going to have, you know, party time and all that stuff, you know. And it's a very complicated situation, you know, so it's not fair. I mean, kids do want to be with both parents, of course they do, but not all parents, when they separate, are in the right frame of mind to be able to make, you know, decisions based around what's best for kids, you know. So,
now, a lot of people believe that, and I have known people with kind of 50-50 custody arrangements, and that's fine if they live very close to each other and the kid can still go to the same school and all of that, okay? But when they're not that close to each other, it's not that easy to organise.
Yeah, but I think, you know, hopefully, like, in the majority of cases that both parents will be still living within a 10, 15 mile radius of the other house.
You're in a situation with a child, are you?
Yeah, yes.
And have you a 50-50 arrangement?
No, and in Ireland you just won't see a situation like that because historically we're a very conservative country when it comes to children and stuff. We all know what the history of the country is, So, that just doesn't happen here. It's just automatically mum gets the kids and dad is left at the weekend if he's lucky.
Okay, now, like I said, I have known of parents with a 50-50 arrangement, but it's where they are... they get on reasonably all right and they're able to negotiate with themselves.
But if it's left up to the state to decide, what you'll find is that it's always skewed.
No, it's only left up to the state to decide if you actually go to court.
Exactly.
But if you are a couple or an ex-couple that can actually negotiate it between you, I have known of couples to agree 50-50.
My friends are the same. My friends that are like that. We all have friends that are like that know people that are like that. But what I'm saying is that the mechanism the state has set up doesn't reflect, the same situation we all have that our friends have, where it's 50-50 and everything's fine. The mechanism of the state is very outdated. Family court is an aggressive place to be. It's, it's adversarial based. And it's not like one parent is right, one parent is wrong. Allegations are just thrown in left, right and centre with no proof needed. Protection orders just given out like sweets. The whole system is just so outdated. It's really, really... I never believed a situation like this could exist in this country.
And anybody who's been through the family law courts on custody issues will probably agree with you. Unless they were the successful party, they mightn't agree with you, but...
Yeah, but the thing is, you say successful party, it's meant to be about children. It's not about the adults. It's about what's best for the kids and what the kids want.
But you think that we should be in a situation of the courts, generally speaking, unless one parent is a bad parent, generally speaking, 50-50 custody arrangements put in place?
Why not?
Is that not...
Civil rights. Kids should have civil rights.
But is that not very confusing for a child? That they've half a house here and half a house there?
No. My parents were separated themselves. Okay, so I've experience with that. And as a child growing up, I would be happier knowing that I had access to both parents and that it's just a more free...
No, but I'm sure you did have access to both parents, did you not?
Yes.
But did you live with both of them?
Yes, and I didn't have to go to this court system either, so that's why I'm so flummoxed and, just bewildered by the way the situation is.
But that's obviously because your parents were able to negotiate it themselves.
Exactly.
And in a lot of cases, parents are able to negotiate it themselves, which is great if they can.
But the thing is, it's like anything, if you fall onto the mechanism that the state has in place, you'll find that it's outdated and not fit for purpose. And that's just, I challenge anyone to say that the Irish family court system is fit for purpose. It's not. They're overhauling the whole thing. That's the children's referendums.
Actually, I'd love to find out whether our listeners agree with this idea that parental arrangements should be 50-50. Answer that question. Sorry, go on.
To have this situation where you have a McDonald's dad that turns up every Saturday to see the kid, that's not what modern parenting is about.
No, and I agree. And you've heard from other fathers. You've heard from other fathers who are saying that they realise that they're the fun parent because they only see them on a Saturday and they make great plans to do this, that and the other.
That's the state has imposed that on them. That's not their choice. That's not the children's choice. That's the state has done that to them. The Irish state is that's their idea of parenting.
Okay, stay there for 1 second, Jack. I just want to throw that out to our listeners. Actually, Joe, what do you think of that? That custody arrangements should, generally speaking, unless one parent is a particularly bad parent, should be a 50-50 setup. That the child lives 3.5 days a week with mammy and 3.5 days a week with daddy.
Yeah, well, you could do that. That could work, but does it upset the child too much as well? Like, different rules, different houses can upset a child even more. Like, my girl is 20 now, and she has an amazing bond with her ma. From the situation I collect on a Friday and bring her to school on a Monday morning, that was the situation I had. And it worked grand. And she's great now. She's 20 years of age, and she's an amazing bond with her ma, and she's an amazing bond with me.
Which is great, yeah.
Which is amazing. So it didn't affect her in that sense. It worked for us in that sense. And She did want to come and stay with me because I was the fun parent, like I said earlier on. I was the amazing parent. I was doing all the great things and all that. But her mother was just as good. But her mother had to have rules there, and that's why she wanted to come with me. It was obvious because there was no other reason other than that. Her school was great. Her life was great. Her friends were great.
Do you think that a 50-50 arrangement, 3.5 days of the week with Mammy, 3.5 days of the week with Daddy, do you think that's practical?
Yes, it would work 100%. Why not? They both made the child. They both deserve to spend enough time with the child, but they both have to be on the same hymn sheet. There's no point spending 3.5 days with one parent that is doing total opposite to what the other parent is doing. That's going to mess the child up. Same rules, same house.
Okay, well, stay there for 1 second. I'd love you to answer that question for me. Should custody arrangements, generally speaking, where there's a decent mum and a decent dad, should they be 50-50 arrangements? And if you're a mother, for example, who has your children full-time and daddy maybe sees them at the weekends or whatever, how would you feel about a 50-50 arrangement? 3.5 days with Mammy, 3.5 days with Daddy. WhatsApp your answer to that question right now to 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. I just got this message in and it says, I went to court myself and I wasn't allowed to have my son every weekend. The ex wouldn't do a 50-50 arrangement, but brought me back to court for half my wages. Now, I don't know if you actually ended up paying half your wages, but I can see the mixed message there. My partner has 2 kids with his ex, says this message. He hasn't seen them since the last lockdown. He's brokenhearted. He has court orders where he had them every weekend. His ex won't let him see them for no reason whatsoever. She says it's because of COVID, which is a stupid excuse, says that message. Let's have a listen to this WhatsApp voice note, which I have to play for Jack.
Hi, Adrian. I don't think it should be 50-50 because I'm currently in the situation myself where I have full custody and my baby's dad lives in Donegal. 50-50 wouldn't work. None of us drive, so it would be 9 hours on public transport for her to go up and down. It just wouldn't work.
Okay, I can see why that wouldn't work. And Jack, I'm sure you'd agree that that's just not practical, where they live at opposite ends of the country from each other. And it was a point that I made to you, that if they live further apart, it isn't that practical, really, is it?
I agree. And in England, for example, they have a thing where you have to have what's called a relocation. That if a parent decides to move from, Dublin to Donegal, that they have to put a request into the court, and the court can stop it because it's the best interest of the child not to be so far away from the other parent.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yes, check it out.
Oh, I will, yeah, certainly. Okay, let's
just... The thing, the problem, sorry to interrupt, but the thing in Ireland is that it's so outdated, and the rules are made by people that just have no real understanding. It's like child psychologists would say that constant, regular, contact with either parent is best for a child, and that's just common sense. But the rules in Ireland do not allow that. They're totally outdated. The court is totally unfit for purpose. And thank God, hopefully, there's some steps towards moving towards a more, modern approach to parenting, rather than this dad stays at home, smokes a pipe and reads the paper, and mom cleans the fireplace. It's just so outdated. The man is, it's a very difficult situation, and it really needs to move forward,
All right, let me just read out this message. Yes, it should be 50-50 as long as both parents are good parents. Also with parents agreeing on mutual rules and discipline. I think women have too much control at times and too many children are used as pawns. And then another message says, when I was 10, I was in a child custody battle. If I'd been allowed to choose, I would have made the wrong decision. Kids that age don't know what's best for them. They only know where they have more fun. And that has been mentioned a number of times from different callers, saying that, the kids would realistically probably choose the fun parent because that's where the fun is. Sorry, in fact, that's that message I just read out on line 1 here. Serena, you're on 98 FM. How are you?
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
A child of a custody battle.
Yeah.
You were only 10 at the time. Were you very aware of it?
I very much knew what was going on. One of my parents would have told me a lot more than I was able to kind of understand, so I would have known a lot of the details.
Details
but
that
not
you
really
probably
understood
shouldn't have
them.
known. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. I wouldn't have understood what was going on, and I was the child who wanted, I just wanted to live where I had more fun. Where there were less rules and I didn't have to go to bed at a certain time, or maybe I could just get a day off school if I didn't want to go in. Kids that age, they don't know what's best for them.
You said in your message, if I'd been allowed to choose, I would have made the wrong decision.
Yes, I would have chosen to stay with the parents who let me choose to have days off, who let me stay up past my bedtime, who let me eat McDonald's every other day for dinner if I wanted to. Whereas my other parents then would have given me more structure and more stability. They were more financially stable. There was a family home set up there. It would have been so much better for me. And that is where I ended up for a couple of years. And it was so much better for me in those few years to be there.
And just back to the custody battle and being 10 and knowing far more than you should have known by the sounds of it. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
You obviously believe that children should be protected from this stuff.
I'm not saying don't take the child's view on board. Ask them, that's fine. But if it's not what's in their best interest, then no, they shouldn't get to choose. There are things that they shouldn't know, that they're too young to understand.
We were talking to Jack a moment ago, who was saying that, arrangements for custody the court should be doing 50-50 arrangements unless one parent is a particularly bad parent. Would that have worked in your situation when you were 10?
Like I said, I had one parent who was very manipulative and told me more than I should, so it definitely would not have worked in my situation. But as a 10-year-old, it was actually a solution I came up with myself, where I wanted to just spend a week here and a week there if I could, to keep everyone happy. But
that wasn't
it was actually the courts who said, that's not good for you, that's not structure, that's not stability. So I can't say for parents who have a really good relationship.
Were you told that by the courts?
Not by the courts, by my parents.
Right. Okay.
And the many psychologists involved in the whole situation.
And just listen, what age are you now?
I am 30.
You're 30. Okay. So 20 years ago, it sounds to me that it still has an effect on you.
Probably does. Many therapists later, though, doing a great job now in life, I hope, anyway. So,
but that's you've just raised the point of the damage that can be done if parents can't agree on arrangements for their children. It can have the effect that child will end up in counselling if you don't get a grip of yourselves.
Absolutely, 100%. They should all be just putting their child first and forget everything else.
Great to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed for your honesty, Serena. And let me squeeze in one last call. Sarah, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Sarah.
How's it going?
Good, Sarah. What did you want to say on this? We were talking about 50-50 arrangements and whether or not these are a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I do think the 50-50 would work if everybody is singing from the same hymn sheet. Both parents, both houses need to be on the same page. The child needs to have the same life, instead of having one fun house and one house with boundaries, because then 50-50 wouldn't work, because the child wouldn't know whether they're coming or going then.
Yeah. So unless the rules are the same in both houses, and unless you're living by the same regulations, basically, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because the child will love the 3.5 days with one parent, because it's great crack and they get away with murder, and hate the other 3.5 days with the other parent because it's much stricter.
Yeah, exactly. They just don't, and they're like sponges when they're that young, you know what I mean? And they just need to have stability, and you don't have stability if you're going. It's like going to visit your nanny for one day. She feeds you loads, and you can do whatever you want. But that's not a way of life. You can't grow up living by that either.
Yeah, I suppose so. Jack, you've heard some of the arguments for and against 50-50 arrangements, and there is that risk that if parents aren't united in the way in which they're going to parent their children, you would have kids loving the 3.5 days with one parent and hating it with the other.
Yeah, great feedback there from people. I think it's very good to hear stuff like that from other opinions. Both parents should obviously be sensible parents when it comes to raising their children. And if one house is party...
But I would think, Jack, that if you're in a situation where you've ended up in court with the other parent to try and get this settled by the courts, then you're probably not going to agree on anything.
That's the problem. That's probably why you didn't get on in the first place and why you separated as a couple. Because you couldn't get on. You come from different backgrounds, different lifestyles.
But you can see the practical downside of 50-50 arrangements as well, can't you?
Of course, but you have to suppose that you yourself are a good dad. That you yourself wouldn't feed your kids McDonald's or Burger King every day or let them stay up 24 hours a day. Would you do that?
I know, but we're all human as well, and even we mightn't set out to.
I haven't bought my kids McDonald's in months.
No, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we mightn't set out to be the better parent to our children or appear to be the better parent, but subconsciously it might happen.
A lot of that stems from not having 50-50 set out initially. That if one parent feels on the back foot, where they have their kids, say, once, twice a week, every other weekend, of course it's not a fair system. Like, it's not fair for the children, it's not fair for the adults. It's totally skewed in one direction. And then the other parent says, I'm the sensible parent. Say the dad that's supposed to be. I'm the sensible parent. I send them to school. I don't let them have McDonald's. And the mother has them every other weekend and brings McDonald's, Like, it's just, honestly.
Yeah, okay. No, I take your point. And like I said, I have known of couples who, without ending up in court, came to 50-50 custody arrangements of half the week with mammy and half the week with daddy, or week on, week off, actually, is what one couple that I know arranged. And it worked very well for them, worked very well for the kids. They lived close enough to each other. The schools were the same distance for both of them and all of that. So it worked for them, but it's not always that practical. One final message. No, all parental rights should not be 50-50 in all cases. Everyone is different. My son is 10. I have my son full-time. We live in a different town than my son's dad. His dad sees him when my son wants to go see him. If it's every weekend, it's every weekend. It's his choice, says that message. And one final WhatsApp voice note from Cindy.
Hi Adrian, so many women are using COVID as an excuse not to let the fathers see their children. And some of the dads going around are better fathers than half the mothers and should be allowed. They should be equal. If they treat them equal and treat them well, there's no reason why the dads shouldn't have them. It's wrong the way the dads are treated nowadays in court.
All right, Cindy, thanks very much indeed for your message. You're listening to 98 FM's Dublin Talks. After the break, we hear of an horrific dog attack in Dublin 15. Don't switch off.
The sound of the city, from Donamead to Drimna. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
And we're here until midday today. It seems to be happening more and more often. This year alone, in 2020, we have covered a story like this on several occasions, including most recently an incident that happened in Rush in North County Dublin. And I'm talking about dogs attacking other dogs. Dog-on-dog attacks. And as we said, the story that we heard a couple of weeks back from Rush was awful. The woman described so well how her dog was so badly injured that it later that evening died in her arms because another dog was let loose to attack her dog. The question I want to ask you is, what do you believe is the answer to stop dog attacks? Dogs are supposed to be on leads in public places. And I take my dogs out regularly for walks every day. And I regularly see other dogs not on leads who will come over to our dogs and touch wood and all of that. It's never happened that one of them has attacked one of our dogs or vice versa. And even if it was to happen, my dogs are on a lead, so I'd be at least able to pull them away from an attacking dog. But a listener that we're calling Laura contacted us this morning about an horrific incident that happened to her family on Sunday in the Dublin 15 area. Laura's family were viciously attacked by a pit bull outside their Dublin 15 home on Sunday. Apparently, the dog wasn't muzzled, wasn't on a lead, And I want to find out a little bit more about what happened. And because of the locality of, because this happened at this family home, we want to protect their identity, and we're just identifying this as happening in the Dublin 15 area. And the family member that's talking to us, we're calling Laura, and we're disguising her voice just to protect her identity. Laura, good morning to you.
Good morning, Adrian. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Now, Laura, you tell me what happened. This happened on Sunday, is that right?
Yeah, roughly 7 o'clock Sunday evening. I was actually in the kitchen putting my shopping away, and my daughter came bursting in through the front door. Now, she's 11, and this man came in behind her into my home. He was shouting and screaming. So then he called my husband out. My husband had a chat with him. But then all of a sudden I heard all this dog screaming. But what happened was, my dog would come out to the door. He's a Springer Collie Cross, and he's 6 years old. He's very friendly. He came out to the door, but your man pushed him down the steps of my house, and his dog was there at the bottom, which I didn't know. So then I heard all the commotion with the dogs, a howl that I can't even describe, a scream that it was terrifying. It was horrible. I can't even describe it. It turns my stomach. I get an instant knot in my stomach when I think about the noise that was coming from my poor animal. This dog had my dog by the ear. So myself and my husband burst down the stairs. This man's still standing there, calmly as anything, giving out. My husband's trying to pull my dog away. This dog has my dog by the ear. I'm in the middle of the two dogs, and this man is on my left-hand side. He repeatedly punched me into the back of the head because I was trying to separate these two dogs. When we eventually got the dogs free, my dog and my partner ran inside. Obviously, he just wanted to make sure the dog was okay. When we went inside, this man was still screaming, "I'm going to burn you out. I'm going to kill all your family. Your daughter will never touch my daughter again." Bearing in mind, these two kids are 11 years of age. His daughter was standing there hysterical. I am very conscious of the fact that this is her family pet as well. He is not a young dog. He's 8 years of age, as far as I'm aware. She is going to be distraught because no decision made by an adult should affect the child in the way that they're going to lose their pet. This man should not have had this dog with him to confront me that him and his daughter were arguing. You know, that the two girls were fighting. That's a conversation that can happen between two adults in a calm manner. Not like that. Okay, so the dog attacked your dog viciously. So obviously not on a lead, not muzzled as a pit bull is meant to be. Is that right? That's right, yeah.
Okay. And not only, because I've been looking at the photographs that you sent me, Laura. My God almighty. Describe firstly the injuries to the dog.
My dog has 2 puncture wounds just below his ear on his neck, which have to be sorted surgically, but at the moment can't be done because there is an infection. So the infection has to be treated first, and then he's also going to lose some cartilage on his ear.
Okay.
Which is fine. It's a small price to pay. It's fine. He's alive.
And that's the most important thing, which is great.
That's the most important
by the way,
thing.
I just want to make it clear, I'm very conscious that I'm hearing one side of this story, and that's why we've disguised your identity, because we are only hearing one side of this story. Okay, so that was the injuries to the dog, but the dog, fingers crossed, will be fine and will survive. Is that right?
Hopefully, yeah, fingers crossed.
And what about injuries to people?
Well, my partner was injured in this. When my partner separated the two dogs, the dog latched onto his finger. Now, he did not feel this. He didn't even realise his finger was sore. He didn't feel it was bleeding. He thought the blood was coming from the dog. So it was only when he attended to the dog that he seen the top part of his finger was hanging off. He actually had to fix it back on and put something over it to hold it in place.
Oh my God.
It was awful. I had to call an ambulance for him. The ambulance came, took him straight into hospital. He's to be seen by plastic surgeons. He's to have some sort of surgery done to stitch it back on.
Okay, so fairly serious. I want to be very careful about not identifying, so I don't need to know his occupation, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But you were describing the sort of work that he does. He needs his hands for his work, basically.
His hands, yeah. Basically. Well, obviously with COVID and stuff, there's not much happening anyway.
No, but still, yeah, he needs his hands. And like I said, I've been looking at the photographs, and my God Almighty, the injuries are very serious. They're very serious. So,
and I kind of thought myself, this person would have called around yesterday just to see was the dog okay. At this point, I still don't think he's aware that my partner was injured as well. I don't think he was aware because my partner and dog went inside. I wasn't even aware until I caught up with him a couple of minutes later. So I actually thought maybe when he calmed down, he might have came around to see was my dog okay. But he didn't. He hasn't bothered. So
okay, and as I said, I'm looking at the photographs, and the dog was very badly bitten. My God Almighty, it's vicious. And then your partner, I'm looking at his index finger and his nail broken in half, and the top of his finger essentially destroyed. My God Almighty, it's an awful injury. So you reached out to us, Laura, highlighting the story firstly. And what is it that you want to see happening here?
All considering, I'm very conscious this dog is someone's family pet.
Yes.
This girl is a friend of my daughter's. I'm very conscious it's her dog. She's a young girl. This dog ultimately has to be destroyed. That's already in motion. It's being destroyed. I just want to make... You do not bring an animal like that if you're coming to have a conversation with another adult about children. You just don't do it. There was no need for it. There was no right explanation for it. There's no way to explain his actions in the right way. Nothing he done by making the right decision.
So the dog itself, you said it's already in train that this dog is going to be destroyed.
Well, the dog warden's been in contact with the guards involved. This dog will be destroyed, yes.
Okay. And unfortunately, this seems to be the only answer to this.
But I don't blame the dog, Adrian.
That's the point.
I don't blame the dog.
Yes, that's the point. And I'm just thinking of the dog. I don't know the dog, obviously. Is that the right course of action to have this dog destroyed?
I'll give you my reason for pushing forward for this dog to be destroyed. When that man knocked on my door, that could have been my 5-year-old child that ran out that door, and that dog attacked my 5-year-old daughter. So I was blessed in so many ways that was just my dog that ran out, and it was just my dog and my partner. I could have lost one of my kids. His own child could have been injured, and he didn't have any thought for that situation. He didn't even try and help the situation. He didn't try and pull the dogs apart. He didn't try and help me. He didn't try and help my partner. He stood there. He repeatedly punched me as I was trying to separate the dogs. He wasn't there for a polite conversation. That was not his intention. His bad judgment needs to be taken in hand. He made the decision to put the dog, his own dog, in that position.
But let me ask you though, Laura. I mean, okay, you say that you've been in contact with the Gardaí, you've been in contact with the dog warden. It is likely that this dog will be taken away and destroyed. But you're ultimately blaming the owner of the dog for the irresponsible handling of the dog. Is that right?
I am, yeah.
Okay. And do you believe, because this is a conversation, as I said, that we had a couple of weeks ago about a dog attack in Rush, where one dog attacked another and ultimately the one that was attacked died. And we were asking whether or not owners should be held responsible and prosecuted when their dog does something like that. And again, in that case, it was a so-called dangerous dog as well. Do you believe that dog owners should be prosecuted for not controlling their dogs, particularly ones on the dangerous dogs list that are meant to be muzzled out in public, that are meant to be on a lead? Do you think they should be prosecuted?
100%. If my dog attacked another dog or attacked another human being, I would wholeheartedly take responsibility for that. That is my dog. It's the same way my children are my children, and I have to take responsibility for them. I 100%.
Okay, but the reality of it is, as we discovered a couple of weeks ago, it is not a dog-on-dog attack. Basically, is not illegal, and you can't be prosecuted for it. That's what we learned. I never knew that. I always thought that
I only found that out myself. Yeah.
So I always thought somebody could be held responsible, but no. But you would like to see that being the case.
It is going to be the case in this case, because as the Guardian informed me, there's multiple things that the man has broken the law on regarding
and again, I don't know if you're...
which is the incorrect handling of the dog, for a start. He should have been on the lead and had a muzzle.
Had a muzzle on,
No responsibility. A dog can't put a muzzle on itself. You have to take responsibility for that. Like, it's even children, dogs on hot days. I'm always saying to my kids, don't lie all over the dog. It's too warm for him. He could snap. You're always conscious, no matter whether it's a pet, a strange dog, nothing. You're always conscious. They are animals.
And I've always believed that myself. I genuinely have.
You have to be aware.
That you can never be too safe around animals, yeah.
You don't know what... They're unpredictable. They're animals. You know, you have to take every precaution with them necessary to make sure they don't harm another human being or another animal. And if they do, we should be held accountable for it. Yes, I agree 100%.
Okay, so you would like to see a law being brought in that if a dog attacks another dog or a human, particularly the ones that are on the so-called dangerous dogs list where they are meant to be muzzled and on a lead, the owners should be prosecuted.
Yes. Fined, prosecuted, whatever the course of action may be. But it might make people think then, well, hang on, it's just worth it to put the muzzle on him. Even if that hot dog just had the muzzle and no lid, none of that would have happened on Sunday evening.
Yeah, I mean, I've just gotten a message in a moment ago and it said, had that man turned up with a knife, he would be prosecuted. He brought the dog as a weapon, so he should be prosecuted. Pity the dog suffers. It's a shame he couldn't be removed and rehomed, says Niamh. Have you ever known of this particular dog to attack before?
I've never seen this man before, let alone the dog. So no, I'm not aware of anything that's happened with this dog before.
Right, okay. All right, and I know, but let me just go to Paul. Paul, you were listening to this story.
Indeed I was, yeah.
And what did you want to say?
Well, basically, under the Dangerous Dogs Act that they have in the UK, it's been in place since 1991. Anyone who has one of the illegal breeds that can't be bred or doesn't have control of them or has any dog that is a danger to the public or doesn't have control over the dog, they do get prosecuted. They can be imprisoned.
Yeah, well, we learned only recently on this programme that if a dog attacks another dog, whether it's on the restricted breeds list or not, the owner can't be held responsible.
Can't be held responsible.
Now, if it attacked a human, that would be a different matter. But if it attacks another dog, there's nothing can be done. We spoke to a woman whose dog died a couple of weeks ago after being attacked.
As I say, that's in all honesty, that's fair. You have the owner to have control of the dog. And to be honest with you, under the Dangerous Dogs Act, which, as I say, is in the UK...
And we do have a Dangerous Dogs Act here as well, but it is illegal to have one of those dogs out in a public place without a lead or whatever. But if that dog is involved on an attack on another dog, there's nothing illegal about that. There is no law about that. And that's the issue that we have here.
Well, again, that is a failure to control the dog. That is, at the end of the day, the dog should be in full control of the owner.
At all times. And as we heard in this case, that just wasn't the case. Laura, we appreciate you highlighting your story. Your partner's hand, your partner's finger is on the mend, is it?
Well, he has still to go back next week. They're not sure whether he's going to keep the top of the finger or he's going to lose it. This will all be decided next week.
And as I said, looking at the photographs, the injury is fairly substantial. It really is. And
he's in a lot of pain, Adrian, and I think he's very shook up.
I don't blame him. Certainly looking at the photographs, I don't blame him. I really don't.
There was all sorts of scenarios going through our heads. our dog's dead, we're going to have to tell our kids our dog has to be put down. Everything goes through your head a million miles an hour. It just happens but I will never, ever forget the squeal or the noise that came from my poor animal. My poor, helpless dog in that situation.
Awful. It really is. And like I said, it's so sad to be having a conversation about a dog that's just a dog, and ultimately
being
the dog
as a weapon.
Yeah, and the dog ultimately being the one to suffer for it, and that it could be put to sleep.
Yeah.
It's awful to hear. I understand why that has to happen and why you would be pushing for that. But again, it's just down to irresponsible ownership of dogs.
If they came back and said, look, this dog will be rehomed, retrained, he will be made wear a muzzle, that's fine.
Yeah, I know that, but you don't want him at your front door again.
I just don't want them where children are, full stop.
Yep. All right, Laura, I appreciate you highlighting the story. We'll keep in contact with us and let us know what happens over the foreseeable. My sympathies to Laura and her family, says this message, for the trauma they've gone through, but I'm really outraged that the dog is being punished for the human's irresponsibility. The dog is to be killed as a result of behaviour he presented that is a result of how he's been treated or trained by the owner. This is not the dog's fault. Dogs like this can be helped with correct care and training. The dog should be taken off the owner, put into rescue, rehabilitation and rehomed, and that's exactly what Laura said. She'd be happy enough with that if that is what happens. The fact that the owner was... oh no, okay, sorry, I won't read that bit. All right, there you go. Thanks very much indeed. You're listening to 98 FM's Dublin Talks. This is Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today. Now, for the last little bit of our show, I want to have a little bit of a laugh, okay? Let's lighten things up a little bit before the end of the show. And I want you... I didn't realise this was a thing. How is your partner... Have a think about this for a second, okay? How is your partner saved in your contacts on your phone? And how are you saved in theirs? And we were talking about dangerous dogs, and I have a mate of mine. I'm not identifying him, but he has his wife's name saved in his phone as the Rottweiler. And when she rings him, a photograph of a Rottweiler comes up on his screen. And the dog's barking is the ringtone. That's a true story. But now she knows about it and she kind of takes the joke. But I want to find out, send me a very quick WhatsApp voice note. How have you got your partner's name saved in your phone and why? Now it can be very lovey-dovey. It could be very lovey-dovey. It could be whatever. Send me a very short WhatsApp voice note right now to 0877 98 98 98. Like I said, a mate of mine has his wife's name saved in his phone as a Rottweiler. A photograph of a Rottweiler comes up when she rings and you get a dog barking. Send me a WhatsApp, 0877 98 98 98.
The sound of the city, from Clondalkin to Clontarf. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
So as a seamless segue from one conversation to another, where we were talking about dangerous dogs, and then I mentioned about a mate of mine has his wife saved in his phone as the Rottweiler. A photograph of a vicious Rottweiler comes up when she rings, and the phone barks. And I discovered that a load of people have their partners saved in their phone with either a lovey-dovey name or something like Rottweiler. And I want to find out how big an issue this is. This is brilliant. This is from Bridget.
Hi Adrian, sorry I can't come on, I'm in work. I have my husband's name saved in my phone as Santa, so that when the kids misbehave, they can see that Santa's calling. From Bridget and Tala. Sorry I can't come on. Bye.
Brilliant, Bridget. Thanks very much indeed. Send me a quick WhatsApp voice note right now to 0877 98 98 98. What do you have your partner's name saved as, if it's obviously not their name, or what do they have you saved as? Billy, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Billy.
Hey, Adrian. How's things?
Good, thanks, Billy. Well?
I have her down as The Fear.
The Fear?
The Fear, and the Tubular Bells music playing from The Exorcist. There you go.
Now, That's worse than the Rottweiler one.
Absolutely.
Come
I
here.
haven't got a picture of Reagan, I think her name was, in the movie The Exorcist. If I thought to get away where I would. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to try that.
Now, does she know this?
Well, she doesn't stand beside me and ring me, if you know.
But that's exactly it.
She does, but I don't think she realises the ringtone of what it is. She probably will now, mind you. But
yeah, because the reality of it is, you can have your wife's name saved as anything, but the chances of her standing beside you when you're ringing her are probably fairly slim. So
exactly.
And that's why my mate actually gets away with the Rottweiler thing.
I get away with the Halloween. The Tubular Bells from The Exorcist with the fear on the screen. We're going to find a picture of Reagan from The Exorcist movie now. Put that up there as well. Just there you go. Thank you very much. The very one. The very, very one. And
that is your ringtone when your beloved rings you.
Yes, nobody else. And then you just go, and then you just turn the phone over and it has "The fear is calling." You just look at the phone and go, and she only rings you when I'm in the shit. And sorry, excuse me, when I'm in trouble. So I know she doesn't ring me for anything nice. It's only when she wants me to do something or I'm in trouble, which is usually 3 or 4 times a day.
That is classic. That is absolutely brilliant.
I do the best. Now, God knows she has me in her phone as, but
brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Good man. Thanks very much.
Yeah, welcome. See you later. Bye.
Bye. There you are. His wife rings with this dial tone, and it says, "The fear." Oh, I love it. Okay, what have you got your partner saved in your phone as? The funnier the better. This is Philomena.
Hey, Adrian. I have my partner in as Paddy the Panda, as he works night shifts, and when he wakes up he just have 2 circles underneath his eyes, so he looks like Paddy the Panda. Thanks.
Paddy the Panda. Thank you, Philomena. This is Stephen.
I have my beautiful wife down as Broomstick. Make your own mind up.
Stephen, I'm at a loss. Explain what that means, please. Is his wife saved in his phone as the Broomstick? Oh, Babs.
I'm saved in my husband's phone as my name and then the ride.
Oh, that's such a compliment, Babs, isn't it? So, so when his phone rings, it says Babs the ride. This is a little bit soppy. We're talking about what you have your partner saved as in your phone or what they have you saved as in their phone. This is a little bit soppy.
I have my missus saved on my phone since day one as Joanna Super Hooper, as she has a great ass. And we're now with each other 8 years, 2 kids later, and still pretty goddamn banging. Keep it going, Joe.
Super Hooper. Okay, Katie.
Hey,
Katie, what have you got your dad saved as in your phone?
Sperm donor.
And your mum?
Birth giver.
So your daddy rings you, and it says sperm donor.
Yeah, and a picture of him.
That's brilliant. And your mammy birth giver.
That's it.
And do they know this?
Yeah.
No, they do. Oh, that's brilliant. That is hilarious. I love it. Fair play. Thanks very much indeed. And we just 1 or 2 more. This is Wayne. It's a bit soppy as well.
Hey, Adrian. Wayne here. I have my partner's number saved as future wifey.
And is she your wifey? Or is she just? Oh, she's just your partner. Okay, so you're obviously optimistic then. Diane.
Hi, Adrian. I have the ex-husband in my phone as him, so that when he calls and I see on the screen it says him, I can raise my eyes and say, dim on the phone. Thanks.
Oh, yeah. No, here, that's another conversation for another day about what you have exes saved in your phone as. Is this Katie's mother that was on there a second ago? Hang on.
Hi, Adrian. My daughter has me in her phone as birth giver and her dad in the phone as sperm donor. And my husband has me down as old bat. Now, I don't know what ringtone he has to it, but there you go.
That has to be Katie's mother then, is it? It has to be. Has to be. Anyway, old Bat, thank you very much indeed for your message. There's some brilliant ones. Thanks very much indeed. They were very enjoyable. My brother has my mam saved in his phone under the name Norma Bates and has the Psycho Music ringtone. God, is he afraid of his mother? Sounds like it. Anyway, they were brilliant. Thanks very much indeed for... and Katie just... that's not my mam. Katie just messaged us straight back. Katie, who was on a moment ago, I have my mum is in as birth giver and my dad in as sperm donor. And that message a moment ago said the same thing, but it's not Katie's mum. Who knew that two people would call their parents that? Anyway, there you go. All right, thanks very much indeed. That's it from us for today. Back again tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And if there's anything you want us to talk about on tomorrow's programme, send us a WhatsApp right now, send us an email right now to dublintalks@98fm.com. Have a great Tuesday. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning at 10. Barry Dunn is on the way. And in the next hour, he's got some great music lined up, like these.
As the sun goes down,
I've been looking for a lasting lover.
98 FM.